Hi, everybody.
Hey, everybody, welcome to TFT, Tarot for Today. Divine Dabblings with
Oberon.
and me, Banshee.
And this
is your Weird Week. Hey, boy, we've had some rough times, It's hard for us to really pin the cards on what happened last week, but we think we've came up with two solid scenarios here out of all the things going on last week. Some of the talk of the strike, it's funny, the strikes are kind of out of the news. Funny that perhaps the media doesn't want to talk about, actors and writers going on strikes, the corporate entities that own our media. So there's been a little downplay on that. There's been, some downplay on the FedEx strike, but now it looks like it could be a possibility for sure again. So we'll see how that unfolds, but we do not think that came up here. We do not think Trump came up here. We tried.
It was Barbie.
It was Barbie.
Or Oppenheimer.
We tried to make Barbie and Barbenheimer fit, but not so much.
But read the book, see the movie, as they say.
But we do have some ideas for you. So we're going to get started. We're going to go through the cards and the scenarios. How should I do this? Should I mention the scenarios first, or should we go through the cards?
Let's go through the cards.
Oh, okay.
Oh, well, your preference is good.
Well, let's mention the scenarios because we're going to put them together. I had a three-part, actually I thought they were three different scenarios, but I'm combining them into one. And it's basically what has started happening on Monday, July 17th, when Russia pulled out of the Ukrainian grain deal, putting 47 million at risk of acute food insecurity. They're using food as a weapon in the same way they like to use political prisoners as a weapon too. So this is what's happening, and they really want to get, their economy going again. They want, their exports to be able to go out and all of that, all the perks, despite the fact that they don't want to end their war with Ukraine unless they win it. So this is a problem. Ukraine, meanwhile, had retaliated, we think, we're calling it a retaliation against Russia, and Ukraine would say it's just all fair in the war because we needed this bridge to blow. They blew up an important bridge that Russia uses to transport their military weaponry and supplies over to Crimea. And so Russia, we think, responded to that by damaging the Black Sea port where the grain is supposed to be transported from, making things more difficult there for Ukraine. So this tit-for-tat stuff. Then an added thing happened. There has also been movement of more Wagner forces amassing in Belarus, and threats now are being leveled against about a possible military strike against Poland, which is a NATO ally. So if they dare do this, they will. Are they just goading NATO now to try to get this war to widen? Because, if they attack Poland, that is bound to happen. The gloves are off. Absolutely. So this is getting kind of scary now. But all three of those things together. And then our last thing is one. Our last thing, number two, is the climate. There has been so many horror stories about climate in this last week. People need to wake up. We need to wake up and not just let this continue happening. And we'll go through our cards now, and I think you'll be able to see how these scenarios fit.
And how we thought they did.
All right. Well, okay, the first card, which was what was the major theme or focus for the week ahead, remember, we had Death reversed. And Death reversed, just looking at that card, it looked so barren and dry. For example, as far as the climate change goes, it's like everything is withering away, everything is burning up. They're talking about the potential in a few years for Greece to become a desert, okay? Imagine that, a desert. Where are all these people going to go? And how are they going to live off their land, all right? So we'll keep that in mind as we go. But of course, think about all the other climate things and what it is doing. The flooding, the tornadoes, everybody's got to constantly be rebuilding.
These things our stagnation and inertia, because the political will to even rebuild things is now fraught with all kinds of dimensions
Yes.
of talk on one side or the
And
other,
hey,
expense.
insurance companies are now abandoning some places that get, too many disasters like Florida and stuff. So, before long, nobody's going to be able to keep up with the level of disasters that we are facing.
Where they're not abandoning, they're raising rates on all insurers to mitigate the cost of the ones who are most at risk. So people now in the center of an area where maybe the outskirts get flooded feel it's unfair that they have to pay for that. But
So
that's how insurance works.
wake up, people. Just wake up, I say. And, as far as Ukraine and the other crisis goes, I think we can see here with death reversed, Russia is reacting in the way they are because there's total inertia going on.
Yeah.
Their economy is failing. Things are stagnating. Their troops have been demoralized. And so they responded by getting tough. Okay, we'll make the world starve. We'll make the world starve until they can, give in to our demands.
They seem to be acting with an impunity because most of the rest of the world, and I can mostly speak only for our own country, the USA, is so embroiled with so many other considerations or issues right now that it would be easy for most Americans or most citizens of the world to not be understanding what is truly going on with Russia and their need to take over the Ukraine.
And card 2, as fate would have it, what we will see, the mysteries, was death upright. Well, what we see is that, change has to happen here. Something has to change and give for the better. We're going down a bad road, both with the Russian-Ukraine situation and possibly expanding it with Poland, and down a very, very bad road, ignoring this environment and not making it front and center now.
In all these issues, it's not so much that we're seeing the change, though we are.
We see it's necessary.
We're seeing that change needs to happen and wondering, of course, when will it?
Yes. Card 3. Card 3 is what other perspectives need to be considered. Now, we're supposed to look at both aspects of this card. I really focused more on the negative, I have to say, in this, but it was a Knight of Wands reversed, and everybody's behaving badly. Let's face it. First off, I think the Knight of Wands reversed is basically this whole idea of this tit for tat between Russia and Ukraine. Okay, you're gonna stop the grain deal? We're gonna bomb your bridge and stop your troops from moving forward. Oh, okay, you're gonna stop our troops from moving forward? We're gonna bomb your port where you think you're gonna get the grain out, Ukraine, and blah, 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 and back and forth and back and forth.
It's belligerence.
Seriously. Oh, and I even forgot to mention the fact that Ukraine, I'm pretty sure, is responsible for blowing up a major ammo depot in Crimea. So, there's a very danger here that for Russia, that Ukraine will also expand and try to get Crimea back. So it goes. Climate. Let's look at climate in this regard. Oh, for crying out loud. There are still so many people in denial. I don't know how you can continue to deny this. And maybe now they're at the point of just saying, well, it's God's will, or it's nature and we can do nothing about this. Yes, we can. There are many things we could do about this if we wanted to.
I also feel, too, that the sense of belligerence implied by the Knight of Wands reversed is adding to the fact that people are more or less being pushed or manipulated into overreacting on the Greta Thunbergs or whoever in the world who are saying we got to do something.
Well,
people are getting death threats for their support of climate.
But on the positive side, because if you look at that Knight of Wands upright, the positive is there are maybe more and more people, especially those who are constantly being affected by these things, starting to say we've got to do something about this. But now we've got to really have that followed up and backed up by actual action. All right, card 4, the Chariot upright, and that was the overall impact. Oh, well, I think the overall impact is, on one hand, with the Russia-Ukraine situation, that's a chariot upright. And I think we're seeing movement. We're seeing lots of different movements going on here. The increases in bombings on both sides, but also this idea that whatever's going on with Wagner and Russia and Lukashenko and Belarus, it almost seems like maybe this was all a setup all along, this whole battle between Prigozhin and Putin, this supposed mutiny, was just an excuse to pull his troops out of that battle and bring them over into Belarus, because Belarus is on the border with Poland. And what better troops to send over into Poland than this finely honed militant army of Prigozhins, which does far more damage than the Russian troops have been able to do in Ukraine. So it sounds like maybe they've been all along wanting to incur into Poland and stoke this. And they're playing good cop, bad cop here. Prigozhin really wants to go into Poland. Putin is trying to restrain him, supposedly. I think it's a good cop, bad cop situation myself.
Sometimes it's important for me to look at the symbolic value of the card rather than the meaning, and to understand that too. And when I look at the chariot symbolically is a vehicle that has a sort of aggressive component about it. It charges into battle, it charges to deliver messages. It's not really used to take Lord and Lady whoever down to the beach, So I think you have to put the chariot in that context too, that basically the overall impact implies there will be aggressive, upstart, or really fixated movements towards solutions or...
To Ukraine, or are you talking about climate
this is
now?
For both of them.
Oh, okay, because I didn't cover climate yet, but go ahead.
But no, I feel like, people will come out of the woodwork to say that this is the solution and maybe aggressively press for it. Will it be the right one? Will it be well thought out? Will it be consensus? Will it take in other accounts or other, things that it needs to?
With the climate, I would just say yes, that people, maybe we will start seeing a little bit more movement and action, as this is starting to become a very serious crisis. Card 5, the Hierophant upright. What could win the weird week or lose it? Well, I don't know what to say about the Hierophant upright. I think this was mostly our stumbling block.
It's a whimper.
It's a whimper.
It's basically the maintenance of the status quo.
There are people still trying to keep the status quo and maintain it, Russia does not want to change their attitude about Ukraine. As a matter of fact, if they're thinking of expanding into Poland, they're digging their heels in more into their dogma. And as far as climate change goes, it's possible too. I mean, there are some countries that just either are going to act on their own or they're not going to do anything. They just don't feel like there's, I think it was China, I'm not sure. It's just like saying, no, we don't need to revisit all this. We have our own initiatives going. And so, if part of the world wants to work together on this, it's not going to be enough if people are still spewing all of these things into the atmosphere that is destroying us. So, that's a lot. So we had to run all that by you, though, because we thought it was rather interesting. And now, let's see what's going on in our weird week ahead. And I'm starting with my Twin Tarot, which is double major arcana deck. One half is upright interpretations, one half is reversed. Let's see what we get today. One more shuffle. Oh, well, phew. It's the Hermit upright. Woo, well, somebody with wisdom is going to, or we're seeking wisdom. We're seeking answers. We're on a search. We're on a search for answers to, maybe solve some problems. Maybe we're soul searching a bit too as a civilization, as what we need to do next, whether it's about climate change or other matters. What do you say, Mr. O?
Well, I wonder if this could be saying that the focus of next week are those who do step forward and say, you need to understand this, and they wish to share a wisdom of some sort, or they wish to share a perspective that would really be necessary now. Maybe it's the perspective of peace, maybe it's the perspective of uniting to work on climate or any number of issues. There's still human trafficking going on, there's still the vast inequities, there's all kinds of issues that somebody who maybe has been watching could step forward and say, this is what I need to offer you. Maybe it's more than one person.
Yeah. So, card 2.
Which comes from the Secrets Tarot.
What will we find out or see? The mystery. And by the way, just to remind everybody, this reading is good from July 24th through July 30th.
So what are those mysteries? What will we find out or hope to find out?
It's another upright card.
It's the Six of Pentacles.
Wow.
And what we will find out is that maybe there are, in addition to wise people, maybe there are also people who are benefactors, who are people who are interested in helping others financially or materially. Maybe what we will find out is that there are good people who want to be helpful.
Well, whether it's about any of the situations last week or not, or it's something new, I do feel here that, there's more of a even exchange here now, a flow. Maybe people coming together to help each other in times of duress, and, it's a fair exchange. Maybe it's also, so that could be about climate. But maybe, even if I look at this Ukraine situation and the grain deal that could be affecting so many people who have absolutely nothing to do with this war, other than they want to be able to live and eat, that maybe there will be some ways around this, the Russians not being, abandoning the grain deal. Maybe people will find a way around this.
Maybe countries that have food reserves will be able to assist.
Or maybe there'll be another way Ukraine will be able to move that grain.
So now we're going to move on to card 3, which is what are the other perspectives that we need to consider. And this is taken from the dually owned deck, the Tarot of Oppositions. So this is the one deck that each of us will shuffle. It's similar to the Twin Tarot Oracle deck in the sense that it tries to work with the reversed and upright meanings of the cards as possibilities.
Whoa, sorry for yawning. Oopsie.
You bent my card.
I did not bend them. Are they your cards now?
You know what I mean.
It's a shared deck. We can share the damage.
Share this.
Ah! All right.
Other perspectives. And it's the upright hanged man.
Wow.
But, depending on your perspective, sometimes neither version of the hangman is totally cool. I guess there could be no other way of looking at this card than to suggest that people uniformly will have very different interpretations of who needs or what needs to be sacrificed and what it's all good for. And that there may be very differing ideas of what needs to be given up to achieve something greater, or why can't I give up less? Why do I have to give up so much? There's going to be a range of thought here, I think.
Yeah, it's about the fact that there are some people who are willing to make changes and sacrifices and others who are not. And it could be ego, it could be greed, people just wanting, having their own self-interests at heart, that could be holding things up. I'm hoping, since the Hanged Man is up right here, that, the more altruistic, among us will prevail.
If we're talking about, of course, the climate change situation or the Russia-Ukraine situation, this card does seem to have a lot of resonance.
Yeah. So, what is the overall impact? And we go to my Healing Light Tarot for that. And we're talking about the things that happened last week, but you never know what will come up. Will something in court cases come up? Will, I don't know, other things in the world come up? We'll just have to see. All right. Gee, we have all upright cards so far.
There you go. Ace of Wands.
What a nice card to have there, eh?
So the overall impact is the upright Ace of Wands. And I don't know why, but I'm being drawn to a sense of something about healthcare with this one.
Really? Well, you can go ahead.
I don't know. Well, because wands can be about health, enterprise, growing
Pentacles.
things.
Okay, but go ahead.
I just sort of feel there's a sense of vitality here, and maybe what will be realized is that we will understand that we have to begin work on these protocols, whatever they are, whether they're for, finding peace through networking, enterprise, friendships, etc. in the Ukraine, or whether it's about finding solutions, networking, growing solutions in climate change.
Could be. I think, it's safe to say that, the overall impact of all of this could be that maybe some new initiatives will get underway. Whether these are peace talks, whether these are some kind of negotiations, let's say over, can I talk to Russia about, doing the right thing with the grain? Or, if this is about climate change, maybe there'll be an emergency gathering of nations to discuss this. Or maybe something will come out of the UN. I can't forget the UN either. But it just seems like whatever the case may be, whatever this is, even if it's something completely different, some new initiatives might start coming out of this as an overall impact of what's happening here.
Nice.
All right, you're on, Mr. O, for what could win or not the weird week. And everything has been so good so far, Mr. O. Surely you will have a good card.
Well, you got to think that, also, and we didn't say this, but we said it maybe last week, that the previous couple of weeks have literally seen the warmest temperatures for day by day or month ever since recorded temperatures were done somewhere in the end of the 19th century, 1880s or so, when they started taking all this stuff. So, yes, we would like to see that. I'm using the Global Fusion Intuitive Tarot. Maybe last week was really the wake-up call that is generating this sense of more positive looking outcomes or positive looking ways at addressing situations, I'm going to hope.
Me too. Don't tell me. It's another court card.
No.
Oh.
It's the upright 8 of Pentacles.
Pentacles, eh?
Yeah, because it's diamonds. And
Oh.
look, he's working, right?
All right, yeah.
So, working together.
Wow.
Who?
It's almost too good to be true.
Who could have thunk it? But maybe it's the idea that something gets through finally at last. And maybe this isn't the world coming together, but maybe this is specific coalitions between agencies or world powers or whatever forces, capitalism even, to say, let's put on our thinking caps, let's roll up our sleeves, let's try to figure out how to solve some problems here, how to work.
Yeah, maybe these major initiatives will lead to some working groups,
It's a big order for 1 week.
Well, it'll lead to some working groups. I don't expect solutions overnight, but that's possible. It could also mean just, we are at work on whatever is developing here, maybe more minds are getting involved and more people are actually working hard towards trying to, to make some changes happen. Well, this almost does smack of some of the stuff from last week, but I won't rule out even the Trump things because I could almost see some things here. It's a little obtuse, but I could. I mean, like, for example, I could see the 6 of, well, we will find out, or see the 6 of Pentacles as being...
Money changes everything.
As seeing a plea agreement.
Oh, okay.
As seeing something that, both sides, kind of a give and take sort of thing here, but I don't know. I don't know that is going to happen with Trump, but maybe some important case. At any rate, let's recap. Let's recap and see what we've got. There's some wisdom here. The major theme or focus is to really maybe put some, somebody comes with some great ideas or knowledge or wisdom to share that we all need to hear. This could be about the climate, and where things are headed. But, scientists, those that know, those that are wise, have been saying this for years now. But maybe that light is starting to sink into the dark places.
Well, another thing I would suggest would be that, of course, science is not very sexy and people mostly ignore it. The Hermit maybe represents the sense of somebody truly charismatic that is able to capture more people's attention. Like maybe it's Carl Sagan Volume 2.
That's interesting. I don't know. I don't look at the Hermit as somebody like that, but
they want to shine this.
They do want to shine their light and they do want to share knowledge. So it might be true that maybe it's even corporate America. I'm not going to rule this out, not corporate America, but corporations worldwide that recognize that, hey, we're not going to have a planet to sell our products on anymore. Matter of fact, we'll be dead.
It doesn't have to be one human or even a few humans. It could just be some sort of grouping. And
also, this could be about the Russia-Ukraine thing again, where people want to shine a light on, hey, we're getting seriously close to World War III in earnest here. And we've got to stop this. True. And so, okay, what we will find out or see, the mysteries, is that it looks as though there may be, I wonder if there's some behind-the-scenes negotiations going on or some behind-the-scenes talks that we will find out about, whether it is about climate, whether it is about the war, whether it is about the Green Deal. There may be something that comes out here.
Well, I look at these two and I say maybe it's time that somebody puts their money where their mouth is.
Yeah, I won't rule that out either, because there's a lot of inequities here. And of course, all the people who are getting hurt and damaged by these storms that, nobody will do anything about, who is going to pay for it? Who is going to pay for it? All right. And card 3, what other perspectives need to be considered? Well, there's the clash of those who want to sacrifice. There's a clash of those who don't. There's a clash of those who are willing to look and open their minds to broader perspectives. And there are those that don't.
Well, it's as easy as this. This perspective will show us who the honest partners are, who the not honest partners are, and where any fungibility or mushy middle is that could move things one way for the better. We may find this out.
The overall impact is something new comes out of all of this. It could be new initiatives of some sort. It could be some growth. It's definitely positive movement. And
it could be transformative.
It could be communications. Like I said, negotiations, maybe something positive. Because that's the Ace of Wands.
And then finally, of course, what can or will not win the weird week. And it's the Eight of Pentacles, perhaps telling us that maybe people will realize they have to put skills, talents, etc. together with others to achieve or to start working towards this.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, it's probably too late to save everybody. I'm just going to have to be that person and say that. But it may not be too late to save something.
People will feel they have to mobilize, they have to do it. And, maybe it's about us, us common folk, finally saying enough. You have to listen to us. We're hurting out here. And you will be too. If we're hurting, you're going to hurt. And so, I can almost see this also possibly talking about what's going on with all the labor issues right now and the strikes.
The actors and Hollywood things and FedEx, those are just the tip of the iceberg with unions.
Well, UAW may be next. They're looking to possibly strike as well. So I think more and more people are looking for fairness and justice, and we're just going to have to see what happens. So, hey, everybody, stay tuned for the next episode of Your Weird Week. And we'll see you soon. Good luck, everybody. Have a safe week ahead. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.